Well, hang on. If he's saying this now, then what's he going to be like as PM? Let's begin. Now, obviously, it goes without saying, doesn't it, that the Prime Minister is a very important job indeed. I mean, they're basically running the country, aren't they? And yes, I know a load of people out there are going to say that the royal family's a head of state, or other MPs have to make decisions too, or he's got to get Parliament's permission or whatever. But quite often it does appear that the Prime Minister is in the driver's seat or the face of whatever decision their party has made. And you'd think, wouldn't you, that after weeks or even months in campaign and maybe even years of dreaming of such an opportunity, Keir Starmer presumably would like to take the bull by the horns and do what he thinks is a very good job as Prime Minister. However, that might not be so, if this article's anything to go by, because it says that Starmer suggests he won't work past 6 PM on Fridays. I mean, what on earth is he thinking? I mean, imagine if there's some sort of big emergency that crops up. I mean, what are we to do? Are we to say, oh, sorry, terrorists, we'll have to make an appointment to come back Monday, but don't worry, it'll be first thing. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I know that, of course, there's bound to be people in the comments saying, oh, really? Well, he's not going to do that, you idiot. Oh, I hate the smug one. And yes, okay, admittedly, in some situations, he might get off his arse at the weekend and pop into the office if such occasions arise, maybe. However, my point is, why would he bring it up? Presumably, of course, that is a tradition he'd like to carry on, I'm guessing anyway. And I say that because it says here that the Labour leader likes to protect time to spend with his family on Friday evenings, and that is very commendable of him as a dad and a husband, but when you're running a country, surely you'd like to think, the rest of us might take a bigger chunk of his attention than before, I'm guessing anyway. It even says here, look, that Sir Keir Starmer has been accused of planning to be a part-time Prime Minister after suggesting that he would work, or finish work rather, at 6 PM on Fridays. And the Labour leader said that on the last working day of the week, he does not do a work-related thing after 6 PM pretty much come what may. He added, get this, that he wanted to maintain that habit if his party was to be elected on Thursday. I mean, that's just absolutely crazy, isn't it? How can you have a Prime Minister just clock off when all crap is going on in the background? I mean, at the very least, presumably you'd like to think it'll stay either half an hour, or maybe it's push the boat out, or maybe an hour behind schedule. Or does he expect someone like Angela Rayner to jump in his place and say, the party's all mine? Either way, though, that really does need stamping out. I'm sorry, Keir, but there are new things now, that if you're elected PM on Thursday, which unfortunately for the whole country, in my opinion, it does look like you will be, then certain things do need to take priority. I'm sorry, if you're not up to the job, then, let Nigel have a go, eh? And Sir Keir told Virgin Radio that we had a strategy in place, and we'll try to keep to that, which is to carve out really protected time for kids. So on Friday, I've been doing it for years. I will not do a work-related thing after 6 PM, pretty well come what may. There are a few exceptions, but that's what we do. He added, though, that in politics, some people think if you fill your diary 24/7 and don't do anything else, that makes you a much better decision maker. I don't agree with that. I don't believe in theory, he says, that you're a better decision maker if you don't allow yourself the space to be a dad and have fun with your kids. Actually, it helps me. It takes away the pressure and relaxes me, and I think, actually, not only is that what I want to do as a dad, it is better. Which I don't know about you, but I personally think that's quite worrying. How often would this happen other times? I mean, are we going to see a thing on his desk saying out to lunch when he's got a load of papers to sign? Or is the King, or maybe even Parliament themselves, have to stop doing business when he says so? The concept is just mental, isn't it? And yes, I'm guessing he will end up eating his own words for this and will actually stay after 6 PM. But it doesn't look good, does it? And you would have think that some sort of light bulb moment would have happened where he would have said to him, maybe in one of his Friday evenings, that, I might not be able to do this much longer. Perhaps, I guess the whole country might have to take a bit of more priority than what they are at the moment, eh? But just what have Labour said about this? Well, a spokesman for the Labour Party, or Labour leader, says obviously he recognises that things will be different if he does end up in number 10. Asked about his remarks, Rishi Sunak said that he had never finished at 6 PM and that clocking off early would not leave enough time to do the job properly, something which I'm guessing Keir Starmer has probably escaped him, eh? You'd think, though, wouldn't you, that after being a solicitor or barrister or criminal prosecutor or whatever he was, that wouldn't have escaped him. Although it does make me wonder if that's why, shall we say, certain people got away with their crimes, eh? Rishi continues and says we'd only have a couple of hours left in the day at this point, which is not great. And his comments also raise fears that his party workers' rights agenda, under which employees will have a legal right to flexible working. And the Conservatives in done their because their attack on social media, as the article says, Sir Keir Starmer has said he'd clock off at 6 p.m. if he became Prime Minister. You deserve better than a part-time Prime Minister, and the only way to prevent this is to vote Conservative on Thursday. Well, actually, Rishi, that is where you're wrong, because I think if everyone voted for reform, that we'd get a much better Prime Minister eventually. I mean, admittedly, with the first-past-the-post system, and as Nigel Farage's party Reform UK is quite a new party, I doubt we'd see Nigel Farage in number 10 in this election, but the next election, who knows, especially if he gets quite a large number of votes and MPs in the House of Commons. So I myself will be voting Reform, and I think if anything, after working countless hours probably over the past 20 odd years, whatever it was, helping to get our governments to even think about Brexit, then Nigel Farage for me would be a much better choice than what Rishi would ever be, and certainly Keir Starmer as well.